What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is Family of Fiance, season 1, episode 6. So look, here's the thing. We have Solani and we have Justin. Okay, Solani and Justin met on a dating website, an online dating website, which I don't think is an issue at all. I have friends I've used online dating, so I don't have a problem with it at all. They were on opposite ends of the country. They started talking. They talked more and FaceTime and all that great stuff. He came out to visit and decided to move to LA. Now, here's where I think things get a little tricky. He decided to go to film school. And they made mention that he's working 18 hours a day at school. So my question is he working? Because some things came up about Solani picking up a lot of slack. I'm all over the place. This show makes me go all over the place, so y'all just got to follow along. So that's a question for me. My other issue, I keep telling y'all, red flags for me. Let me pull that up a little bit. Red flags for me are when people don't tell. Either they haven't met the family member or the family doesn't know how serious the relationship is. Because I always find that very interesting. Again, I'm not talking about the play-by-play. You know, when you're dating somebody, you may not always bring your family into every aspect of your relationship. Especially if you have a past or you've been married before. You've had a lot of relationships that have failed. I get it. But if you are at the point where you are asking someone to marry you and you are close with your family and your family is important to you, I don't understand you not telling your family. So in this case, it was Justin. Usually it's the girls. No, that's not true. Usually it is the guys. No, it has been the guys. Justin did not tell his mother. Just last week it was the girl last week, but that's because that boy beating her and she didn't want her family to know. But that's a whole nother conversation. Excuse me. Justin didn't tell his family, especially his mother, that he had asked Solani to marry him until he contacted her about being on the show. That's a problem. And Solani didn't know that his mother didn't know until they were on the show and his mother said it. So Solani is blindsided with this information that he doesn't know anything about. That your mother doesn't know that we're engaged. And you lied. And then we find out later he lied to her and told her he had told his mother. Justin, you already got a couple of strikes in the column for me, boo. So, of course, they show up and we find out that on Solani's side is her mother, her sister, and her brother/cousin. They're cousins, but they're probably like brother and sister. On Justin's side is his two sisters and his mom. Miss McMillan giving them same tied assignment. They're going to have to do 20 questions, but they're going to do 20 questions while they're getting mani-patties. It's like she's doing the same activity, but putting different surroundings around it, but whatever. And then the two guys are going to have to play basketball, which is really funny because neither one of them play basketball. And I'm like, isn't that about a bitch? About assumptions. You're assuming that the two guys want to go shoot hoops. And Justin and I forget his name, but her cousin was like, yeah, basketball really ain't my thing. Justin was like, yeah, it ain't really my thing either. And the two of them are doing a bit more. You can tell the two of them a bit more play basketball than the man in the moon. And I said, now we talk about and that's some reverse sexism right there. That y'all just assume that they would want to play basketball. But anyway. The families come in, and the first thing Justin's mother says to him is, "You're in trouble." Yeah, because she didn't know nothing about all of this, and she agreed to be on the show, but she didn't even know nothing about this, how serious y'all had gotten as far as a marriage is concerned. And then we also found out that Justin is not really keeping in touch with his family like he should. Since he's moved to LA, he's not really calling them a lot, And later on, he says because he didn't want to feel judged, but that's a whole nother I think Justin's full of shit, but. Okay, I should have built up to that more. But anyway, I think Justin's full of shit. So when they're going around and doing their whole blessing thing, everybody gives their issues until they get around to the mother. Selena's mother. Sorry, Selena. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. But it gets to the bride's mother. I'm just saying the bride. And she starts asking him about his PTSD. Honey, what'd she do that for? The minute she brings up PTSD, Justin says, well, that's not what we're here for, and that's not something I want to discuss in this forum. Basically, you don't want to talk about it on TV. That's what you're saying. And then his mother starts talking about, well, why we got to bring that up? That doesn't have anything to do with anything, and be very careful about bringing that up. You better be careful about bringing that up. You need to be careful about bringing... And the mother goes off, and she was like, well, now you setting off my PTSD. And, the bride's mother was very calm. She said, I'm just concerned. I don't know a lot about it. I just want more information. I'm not trying to cause a problem. I'm not trying to make anybody uncomfortable. I don't know a lot about it. The mama gets up, his mother gets up, and she told myself, well, now you setting off my PTSD, and I'm going to leave before I do something. I'm going to leave because that's what I need to do to cope with my PTSD. So she leaves, and she goes out in the backyard talking about something. I need a drink and a cigarette. I'm about to leave. I'm getting ready to get out of here. I said, oh, Lord, here we go. Then we get back to the room, and Justin starts crying. I just don't want to. I just don't want to. Now, I didn't see Ned tear fall. But I saw all this acting. Right? And, of course, that immediately shifted the conversation off of his PTSD and on to, oh, Justin, are you okay? Oh, you okay? The sister's all in his face. And she's, Solani's all hugged up on him and everything. And all of that. I'm not saying Justin don't have PTSD. I cannot put myself in that man's shoes. He was in combat. He was in the medical field, in combat. He had to deal with all kinds of stuff. I'm not saying he don't have PTSD. That is not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is, I think that PTSD he uses to his advantage, and that still might not have come out right. And I'm not trying to offend anybody that deals with PTSD in any form, okay? I deal with students who deal with PTSD, so I understand that it's real. I'm not questioning whether PTSD is real. I'm questioning if Jonathan takes advantage of the fact that he has PTSD and uses it as a crutch or an excuse when he makes bad decisions. Okay? I think that came out better. Okay. So, we move on into the exercises. Everybody calms down, and he goes to talk to his mother, and he gets his mom to calm down and all this other stuff. Okay. So, they do the, excuse me, oh, Lord, excuse me. They go off and do their little thing. They do the mani-pedis, and the guys are going to play basketball. And, I feel like the cousin/brother, asked some really good questions. And, one of the questions he asked him, what was it? Oh, shoot. It was a really good question. And Justin couldn't answer it. And the brother was just kind of like, that's a pretty basic question. What did he ask him? Oh, y'all gonna make me have to go back and look. Because it was a really good point. Hold on, it was a good point. Okay, yeah, I had to go back and look at it, y'all. But the brother asked, well, the cousin/brother, asked Justin, why didn't you tell your family about the engagement? Are you not sure? And I thought that was a good question. And Justin says, oh, no, that wasn't it at all. It was just me. I was worried about being judged. And the brother kind of looked at him like, what does that mean? Because, I get it from a point of view of, what do you mean being judged? I mean, have you been engaged a lot? Do you think your family is going to be like, oh, Lord, here Justin goes again? Like, what is that judging about? And then on the flip side, they're talking to Solani, and one of the questions was, what, do you think that the concerns that were brought up, do you think they were valid? And she said, yeah. She said, I think all of the concerns were valid. She said, one of the things that kind of shocked me was that one of the things that was said was that we're secretive. And she said, I think I'm just the opposite. I think I've been very open. She said, but in dealing with your son, talking to, his mom, that has been an issue with us being with our communication and us not being able to be open with each other. And so they end up having dinner, they cook dinner, and they're continuing to ask the 20 questions. And so over dinner they got to talking about forget the, gosh, my memory's not working today. But, might be all the cold medicine I'm taking. Ugh. But they were talking about, again, the communication thing came up again. And Solani was saying, I wish you could just tell me some of what's going on. And again, you can tell by the questions that other people are asking, some of the issues they're having. Just like this whole PTSD situation, that was the first thing out of her mother's mouth. And for that to be something that's the first thing out of somebody's mouth, that means that this is something that's an ongoing issue. But one of the things that her mother said was, well, why is it so hard for you to just tell her what you're doing, when you're going to do it? And I was like, I was like, so does he go MIA? Does he go out and doesn't tell her where he's going to be? She said something about the school being so time consuming, and he's like 7 days a week, 18 hours a day situation. Now, I don't know nothing about film school, and I certainly, again, I don't know what the situation is, but 7 days a week, 18 hours a day, that's a bit excessive. So the mother says, so then his mother interjects. She said, well, when you were in the military, was this an issue? So then his mother says, well, you're in the military, you can't have any emotion. And her mom was like, I'm not talking about emotion, I'm talking about communication. That's different. Emotion is one thing. I'm talking about them communicating. Okay, so then they got to arguing about, the communication situation. So then they said something about Solani not being able to do what she wants to do. And he got offensive. He got offended. He was like, no, she can do whatever she wants to do. He was like, she has the ability to do whatever she wants to do. I'm not stopping her from doing anything she wants to do in her life. And the cousin brother was like, no, I disagree with that. And he was like, no, And so then the mother got trying to say something, and then they got to talking over each other. So the sister was like, can everybody just shut up for a minute? Just shut up. Now, let me say this. Shut up is a trigger word for me. I hate for somebody to shush me or tell me shut up. I don't. You can tell me to be quiet. You can ask me to quiet down. You can say, give me a second, let me finish my thought. There are a lot of different ways you can say that without shut up or shush. I don't know what it is about when somebody shushes me, but or tells me to shut up. Now, maybe that's what it was, because the minute she said shut up, then Solani was like, well, got to talking, and she was like, well, we were, until you told everybody, and it got to be back and forth with them, very, very contentious with them, to the point where the sister called Solani a bitch and walked out and just told her to shut the fuck up, and ended up walking out. So, the mother, Justin's mother, felt like everybody was picking on her son. And I feel like she's one of those mothers that feels like her son can do no wrong. And whenever there's a problem, everybody's picking on her son, because that's just what she kept acting like. Even with that first thing, when the whole thing of PTSD came up, she just immediately got offended. And she started just talking about how, she felt like they were picking on her, and everybody was picking on her son, and he's not a horrible person. And I'm like, I don't really feel like that's kind of where that was. I don't feel like they were picking on him, but clearly that's how they've grown up, that he can do no wrong. That's probably part of his damn problem now. So we see Solani talking to her mother the next day, and her mother is like, so how are you feeling about all this? And she said, I really am having some second thoughts. There's a lot of things that I'm really not comfortable with. So they go to talk to McMillan. I'm going to go ahead and hurry and finish this up. We go to talk to McMillan. And McMillan says, your mother has voiced some concerns that your son has, because Solani has a son. And Solani was like, well, I wasn't aware that there were any issues. And she said, yeah. She said, so I think you need to go talk to your son. Like, before we even go any further, I think you need to go talk to your son. So she goes to talk to her son with her mom. And basically her son says, look, I don't really think Justin's a bad guy, but I have a problem and I have some concern. I mean, I'm talking as an adult. But, I really have some concerns about when he gets angry with you, how he acts. And I was like, see, again, this whole anger issue, it keeps coming up. And it makes me think that when they argue, it's really bad. Like, and when he gets mad, he gets really mad. And she said, well, why haven't you said anything? And she said, because I don't want to be the reason why you're not happy. I don't want to be the cause of it. Like, I want you to be happy, and I don't think Justin's a bad guy. I just have some issues with that. And she said, well, would you say that we should get married? And he was like, right now, no, I don't think so. And you could see she was very disappointed in that. So they get to the ceremony. I'm just going to finish this thing up. They get to the ceremony at the end, the blessing ceremony, and they go around the room, and basically nobody gives them their blessing. They all have different reasons, but nobody gives their blessing. And before it goes any further, Solani says, well, look, I have something I need to say. She said, this whole weekend has been very enlightening and everything, and da-da-da-da-da, and talking to my son and so forth and so on. She said, I think we do need more time. She said, I'm not breaking up with you, but I am going to take this the engagement ring off. I'm going to put it on a chain around my neck, and I'm going to put this on hold while we work through some of these issues that have come up in the last couple of days. And he's cool, but he was like, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. Excuse me. Excuse me again. Oh, my allergies. And the follow-up was that they are still living together. They are still a couple, but they have put the wedding on hold, which I think is the best thing. I don't think that, based on what we saw this weekend, I don't know if they needed to throw the whole relationship out, but they definitely needed to have some serious conversations. And he's going to get some help for PTSD. They actually had somebody come in and explain PTSD. It wasn't a counseling session. It was just, let's explain what is PTSD, what does it look like, and how is it triggered? What are some of the things that's a trigger? And so he's getting some help for it, which I think will help, because again, I'm not questioning whether he has PTSD, but that can't be. You've got to figure out a way to get some help for the PTSD, which is what it seems like they're doing. So anyway, that was Family or Fiance this weekend. Y'all let me know what y'all look like. Next week's episode is going to be a real doozy. Honey. All right, let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace.